هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا يا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا يا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا يا هلا ويا هلا ويا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Let's Talk. We come to you live from Johannesburg, and we will be with you right up until 10 o'clock this morning. But even before we start the show, let's start off by saying shukr alhamdulillah for the beloved, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for blessing us with rain. It's been raining all night in our part of the world, and it's been soft rain, and I'm not sure that the rain is enough to break the back of the drought, but inshallah we continue making dua, inshallah, that the rains continue, because we truly are having a very hard time in our part of the world with the drought going into the third year. So all of us collectively should continue making dua for continued rain here in South Africa, so that the burden can be relieved by everybody. But that doesn't mean that we should stop our efforts in all our water conservation efforts, just how we conserve water in and around the home. That should and must continue, inshallah. So all I have to say is welcome to the program this Wednesday morning. It's a wet Wednesday morning, but it's a lovely, lovely feeling. At least the dust has settled, and you can already smell the freshness in the air. May Allah continue blessing us with His mercy of an abundant amount of rain in the coming days. So coming up in the program today, we're going to be talking about women of substance, and the first woman of substance is a lovely young lady. Her name is Tasneem Musaji. She's going to be talking about her achievement. This will be followed by another interview with another woman of substance, and that is Auntie Jubi Mayat. And I think our moms and dads will remember her very well. She was one of the first Muslim journalists in the country, and she used to write for the Post newspaper. So we're going to be talking to her about her career as a woman of substance, and also about Black Wednesday, which is about 39 years old. It's the 39th anniversary of Black Wednesday. We'll be talking to Yusuf Musaji as well, coincidentally the dad of Tasneem Musaji, and he's going to talk to us about the CBE. And then we'll be wrapping up by talking with another woman of substance, and she's Sumaya Wadi Mohammed. She's going to tell us about an amazing event that's going to take place this Saturday afternoon at the Wanderers Cricket Stadium, and it's all to celebrate women of substance. So stay with us, and you do know the drill. If you call in and keep us company, you stand in line to win a hamper, a sweet hamper from Broadway Sweets, or a hair care hamper from Amka. So I'm looking forward to your company right up until 10 o'clock this morning. But let's cross over to our first woman of substance, a lovely young lady, Tasneem Musaji. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Great to have you in the studio with us. And of course, I've introduced you as a woman of substance, and you are exactly that. You are a teacher, and you're based at a school in Johannesburg. Now, understand that you are sitting here today to talk to us about a wonderful achievement in your life. Tell us a little bit about it. What was this all about?
There was an awards that Woolworths was having with regard to, the topic was, why is my teacher awesome? The learners had to write in letters describing why their teacher, or why they think their teacher is amazing, awesome. And Shukr, one of the learners that wrote a letter about me from my class, the letter got chosen as a finalist. From the 13,000 plus entries that were sent in 8.
Wow, that's huge.
There were
Mashallah.
8, exactly. There were 8 finalists that were chosen, and mine, the letter that was written about me was one of the letters that were chosen as a finalist.
So tell us about the little boy who nominated you. Tell us about the letter and just exactly what it meant to you.
His name is Jesse Tom. During the second term of school, he was out of school with a very bad virus, and he was in hospital for about 3 to 4 weeks. During that time, I would phone up on him continuously to find out how he's doing. His father would come in to collect work. I would help them to keep him up to date with what he has missed, because that's closer to exam time as well. I've sent little get well soon cards from myself in the class and little presents just to keep his spirits up. And I think that meant like a lot to him, and that what his letter was based on was on the extra mile that I went during the time that he was away from school. So.
I see. I understand that in the letter he's written that he wishes that you could be his teacher for the rest of his life.
He did say that. Yeah, he a very young, lovely boy, and we get along so well. Our personalities get along so well, match so well as well. So he did say that he wishes that I would be his teacher for the rest of his life. But I think we have that bond that we share as well. So it's the love that you create with the learners that makes them feel the way that they do.
Now, you're a foundation phase teacher. Why did you choose that route?
I love children. Love working with children, and I have my own passion for learning, and that drew me towards becoming an educator. I feel that we as educators, individually and collectively, have the impact to make a difference in a child's life, and the foundation phase is a starting of their lives as well. And we foundation phase teachers especially have a huge role in that, in molding the children, in teaching them good morals and values, in helping them make good choices in their lives as well. So it's from the foundation blocks that we need to be there for the learners as much as we can be there for them. And that's what drives me to, what drove me to becoming an educator. I want to make that difference in the lives of the children. I want to help them to make positive decisions and guide them to the choices that they make.
So how many kids are in your class?
There are 26 learners in my class. Yeah, the school is quite big, so we have like 4 grades of each class. So
and Jessie's letter was chosen, but what were the what was the other messages or letters all about? And I'm sure they're all very dear to you.
To be honest, when the notice went out about the competition, it went out on the Wednesday and the letters were due on the Friday. So when it came in, some of them got emailed directly to Woolworths, some of them got sent through the HOD. So I haven't gotten the opportunity to read most of the letters that went through. So there's a few that I do have with me, and that's the learners speaking about how difficult they felt to come at the starting to start school, and how easy I've made that for them, how I've been there for them through their learning difficulties or assisted them whenever they needed assistance, the patience that I have with them. And I think that's the most important thing that we need to have with the learners is patience. And yeah, most of those letters were based on just the confidence, the courage that I give them, just basically giving everything to teaching and just being there to assist them with.
Now you have a class of 26 children, and I think we're all human, and it's the most natural thing in the world to kind of form bonds or connect with some of the learners as opposed to others. How do you navigate around that without making the other learners feel that you have favorites in the class?
I think what's important to realize is when you go into a classroom, look at all the children as equal. Although they all come with different backgrounds, different learning strengths, different weaknesses. And the best way to do that is to try to provide for them in the best way that they learn, or provide for them I would say sort of equity, to give the child what the child needs. So be there to support each one, encourage each one as well. So as a class, don't pick and choose the same learners all the time. give the weaker ones a chance, motivate them, be there to assist them, give them little tasks to do for you as well so that they know they are acknowledged, and then they feel that comfortable in the class as well. I don't think that we should block out a child or just leave a child on his or her own. You need to provide yourself for each and every child every day. Whatever it takes and whatever they need assistance with is just to, as much as how challenging it can be at times, but I think with the patience that you have and the perseverance that you have to want to make the difference in the child's life, that pushes you and drives you towards just offering everything that you can to the child.
Now, back in the day when I was at school, things were very different, I must tell you. If the kids were either disruptive or weak academically, they were definitely marginalized by the teachers. The teacher really only honed in on the bright stars, or, the shining stars in the class. And undoubtedly, it gave those kids that weren't the shining stars quite a complex. And I have no doubt that also self-esteem issues and so forth. And it was really
definitely
a bad situation.
I do have a learner in my class that was, when he started with me, his self-esteem, confidence is very low. And not just looking at the child academically, but holistically as well. And I've encouraged him to participate in sports because I do the extramurals as well in school. And he started playing the sports with me. And he was so good in the specific sport that from there, and because of the motivation that he got and the confidence he picked up from there, there was a huge improvement in his classwork as well. So it's very important for us to notice these kids as well, notice their strengths, motivate those strengths, and then from there, everything just sort of falls into place because the self-esteem and the confidence in you and the way that they feel comfortable in your class, everything improves. So it helps them.
So obviously each child comes with something special. It might not be academics, but each child is special, and to their parents they're the greatest thing in the world. And the teacher may not see that, of course. You've got to see the child through the parents' eyes, and then only will you realize just how special this child is to his parents. And the parents expect the same amount of attention, love and nurturing to happen in the classroom. When and how do you get the inspiration to try and be fair, equal and loving to all of the children?
I think that comes with the passion that you have for teaching. When you go into the class, when you have a passion for something, it drives you, it motivates you to go into the class and give it your everything. And what's also important is knowing the backgrounds of the learners as well, knowing where they come from, knowing what their parents do. That helps you to cope with situations that happens in the class. That helps you to know which learners are more sensitive to certain areas, and ways also to cope with situations. There's a lot of learners, they come with different you need to take different approaches for each of the learners, and you need to know and be able to tell in what way the learner will be able to respond or learn better to the way that you are teaching. So I think with all of that, it's knowing your learners' backgrounds extremely well, and it's definitely the passion that you have. If you don't have a passion for teaching, you're not going to go into a classroom and give it your everything.
It's just going to be another job.
It's just going to be another job. So you need to enjoy what you are doing. You need to go in there with a positive mindset every morning, walk into your classroom, and from the morning you need to create a positive vibe. You need to create a comfortable environment for your learners. So don't just start off with opening a book, giving curriculum work. You need to have that conversation,
connect them, fire them up for the morning. Okay, let's take our first ad break. I don't think I could be a teacher. It just sounds like so much work, and you need so much of patience. But teachers are born, I think. They're not made, so good luck to them. And we do place the lives or the futures of our little ones in their hands. So may they all be blessed with amazing teachers like Tasneem Musaji. Let's pay the rent. We're going to be back with you in a minute or two to continue our discussion with Tasneem and her journey as a teacher. And still to come in the show, we're going to be talking to reporter Jubi Mayat, and then another woman of substance, and that's Umayya Wadi Mohammed, not forgetting Yusuf Musaji, who is waiting in the wings to come in and talk to us about the CBE. And welcome back on this gorgeous wet day in Gauteng, and we continue making dua, inshallah, that Allah blesses us with continued rain in the coming days. But of course, that also means that you've got to be careful on the roads. The roads are very, very slippery, so please do keep your headlights on and drive with caution, inshallah. We're talking to an amazing young lady. She's the woman of substance. Her name is Tasneem Musaji, and she has come out third in the national finals of the Best Teacher of the Year, and she's sharing her story and achievement with us. And we do applaud not only Tasneem, but all the dedicated teachers around the world whom we entrust our children to. So we hope and pray, inshallah, that all our children are exposed to people as amazing as Tasneem. Back to you, Tasneem. And what does your school say? You're at Roosevelt Park Primary School, am I right?
Franklin D. Roosevelt Primary.
Okay. What is the rest of the teachers and your headmaster have to say about this achievement? It's put your school on the map, has it not?
It is. But the support and encouragement I've received was amazing. Mm-hmm. My colleagues, my friends as well, they've been there for me, sharing in my joy. And I think that is the most important thing for me, for them to be there with me. And they've been so excited about this journey as much as I have been. So just having the support of your peers makes a huge difference to your achievement.
Of course, you can't do it without them. But of course, family support too
Definitely.
is very important.
No, my family has been extremely supportive. The love that I've received for them was amazing as well. Mm-hmm. So definitely, you can't do it. My success is because of the support that I've received from my friends and my family.
Absolutely, the encouragement as well. Obviously, you're passionate about what you do. I can hear it in your voice, and you've been smiling throughout our interview. There must be something about your work as a teacher that you find challenging. What is that, and what would you, if you had the power to change, what would you change?
The school that I'm currently based in, many of the learners come from, or some of the learners come from disadvantaged backgrounds. So for me, the challenge is the language barriers. When the learner comes into your class with as little as English that they know, and then you have to try to change that for the learner. So the language barrier is very taxing. Very taxing and very challenging as well. But with that, you need to find different teaching methods and different teaching techniques that can assist the child in the best of his ability. So whether it's using concrete apparatus or flashcards or books to the level of the child, or assisting the child doing corrective work, assisted work, individual assistance. Mm-hmm. But you need to give it more to the learners that come in with these learning barriers or the language barriers. So that's the most challenging part for me.
Teaching obviously is very taxing, both physically and mentally. Where do you find the inspiration? I know you spoke about family and friends. Without them, you could never have achieved what you have. But, what else inspires you to be the great teacher that you are?
Definitely the children. When you walk into your class and you see those 26 smiles, you know that you're here to make a difference in their lives. And it's all about the learners. It's about just starting or trying to start a bright future for them as well, for giving them the best that you can, for giving them the opportunity to grow up as well and become something that they would love to. So that's what keeps me inspired. Also the love from the children that you receive, the confidence that you see, that you put into them. It's unconditional. It's I can't even explain it. It's it's
they make you feel very special.
They do, and you basically the everything.
Okay, obviously not everyone is the same. You're going to have your little upstarts in the class as well. How do you deal with children who bully other children in the classroom or in the playground?
I believe a lot on positive reinforcement. So try to encourage the good that you see in the learner or around the learners that's going something.
Give me an example of, what sort of language and how you talk to the child.
You need to talk to a child in a loving way. Don't reprimand a child in front of other learners as well, because that discourages them, that brings down their self-esteem as well. Take the learner's side, talk to them, let them try to figure out the behavior that they are conducting is not appropriate, or the things that they are doing. And what I try to tell my learners every time is that before you do something, think whether you would like that to be done to you.
Of course.
And think about how you would feel. And we need to, like, our class is our little family. We need to be loving to one another. And I have lots of, I have a chart in my class. It's called a Quote Being Good chart, and that's like my positive reinforcement. So every time a learner does something good, even whether that work, behavior, then they put a little sticker in their folder. And once you get 10, then you get a free service. So that motivates the children as well. And I got learner shout-out chart, which is working excellent for me. Basically, it's if a learner does something good for another learner, they write it down and then they paste it on the wall. So when I started that, I've noticed a huge difference in my class, because everyone tries to get their name up there. Everyone tries to show that they've done something helpful for another learner. So it's more about the positive reinforcements that you need to give the learner. It's also about good modeling. You need to be a role model to your learners. So you need to model the type of behavior that you want to see in them. You need to talk to them in a manner that they would respect, and they would realize that this is a type of behavior that we should try to be as well. So it's a lot about yourself and how you show yourself to your learners, and the way that you model yourself to your learners as well.
Okay, I'm just wondering now, as we're speaking, it's a school day. You're sitting here chatting with me. What about your learners? Who's taking
My
care
learners
of
are
them?
well taken care of. They're well taken care of.
Okay, wonderful. We hope they're watching you. The competition. Just before we get to the competition, I understand from an article that appeared in the Melville Times that you have an amazing classroom. Were you totally responsible for making the classroom as pretty as it is? I believe it's almost like a home away from home.
When I got the job at Franklin D. Roosevelt, I was initially given a grade 3 class. And when I went on the first day, I was moved to the grade 1 class. So I was in quite a panic. The class is empty when I went there. So I've had a lot of support from my cousins who came with me to school during the beginning. We put up posters. A lot of the charts in my class is theme-based, and I have designed it on my own according to the level of the learners. A colorful class is what keeps the learners alive as well.
And stimulated.
A rich print environment. Artwork that the learners do, I display it around the class so that they feel like it's their little space. It's their home. When they walk into it, they know this is my home away from home, as you said. So a lot of what I put up in the class now, positive sayings as well, just to motivate the learners, is what I've put up there. Also, I have a little corner where when we have school photographs and that, so each of the year's photographs go up on the wall, so the learners feel like they were once there, they belong there, or at the moment this is their little space. So you need to create that classroom environment that the learners get excited to go to, not a dull one when they walk into and then they already feel sleepy or tired or not motivated to continue. So the classroom environment that you create and the way you decorate your classroom helps to stimulate the children.
Okay, now I know that corporal punishment is outlawed in our country. How do you deal with, and I know they're very little, so, their little mishaps or misbehavior is not at a very high or a great level, but how do you deal with delinquent children?
Well, like I said, a lot of the positive reinforcements wipe out the negative behavior that the child bring into. But apart from that, we have also a discipline head within our grade. So if we are unable to solve the problem, then we take it to the discipline head where we discuss the child's behavior with the child, try to find ways for the child to improve his behavior, give him little rewards, things like that, just to get him to try to, or even tasks for you, make him in charge and monitor, things like those are the things that bring up the confidence in a child. And it also makes the child want to behave in a certain way in your class. It makes them feel recognized. I don't, as much as how challenging and difficult it is, I try not to give attention to the disruptive behaviors. Rather, reward a child that's doing the opposite behavior. So the disruptive child realizes that this is not going to get me attention. I need to behave in a certain way to be recognized or to do things for my teacher. And it makes a huge difference to them, because if you keep on giving attention to the disruptive child or what they are doing, then they keep on doing it because they know that they're going to get that attention from you. And some of them, it's what they look for, the attention. So just notice the good that they do or the good in other learners, and just reinforce on those type of behaviors.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and now let's talk about the prize, all the events that led up to you going to Durban and being nominated and having come out third in the National Best Teacher of the Year finals. How did that all play out?
Okay, like I said, the competition was where the learners needed to write in letters. From there, I've received a call from Woolworths. It was the Woolworths Why is My Teacher Awesome competition. So I've received a call for them to tell me that I've been chosen as one of the finalists. To be honest, I didn't know much about the competition. I didn't know what being a finalist meant as well. And the lady said to me that she asked me for my email address and told me that I'm going to send you the information because I'm sure now you need to know where it goes to from here. And that's when I started going onto Google and Googling and seeing what is this competition about. And I was very anxious for that email. And I think she sent it like towards the late afternoon. So the whole day I've been waiting for that. And when I received the email, then I saw that it was actually quite a huge award.
Wow.
What had happened is I was chosen as one of the 8 finalists. And then from there, we had photographers and interviews that came to the school one of the days to come watch one of your lessons, to interview the child as well that won the award. Then we had to send through, there was about a bio about ourselves, about 5 or 6 questions. And then we were flown to Durban for the awards. The award ceremony was taking place in Durban. We were flown to Durban during the holidays, landed there and went for interviews. So that was the interviews with a panel.
And probably spoiled rotten as well.
Spoiled rotten. From the time we landed.
And what did you win?
From the time we landed, and then the interviews took place. And then the following day was the awards. So for the 8 finalists, each one of us won a laptop. We won Woolworths gift vouchers.
Okay.
And then...
I hope you've spoiled yourself on those.
Not yet. I still have it, not yet. And then was the finals. I came out, I was the second runner-up in the finals. I came out third. I won a cash prize. I've won another set of Woolworths vouchers as well.
Great.
And then it was the entire trip that was paid for.
And very memorable, and the people that you met, I'm sure.
The people I've met were amazing. I've learned so much from their experiences as well, because they all come from different regions, different provinces, different schools, and the environments as well. So the things we learned from them were
all right, we're almost at the end of the interview, believe it or not. Where to from here for you, Tasneem Musaji, as the third runner-up in this amazing teacher competition?
This has definitely been an upper hand for me, and the school that I'm at, the confidence and the support that I've received from them has been amazing. In my 3 years, I've already become the grade head for grade 1s.
Good on you.
So it's the confidence that's going to keep me going, and this is just the beginning.
Oh, wow.
This is just the beginning for me.
Undoubtedly. And
definitely reaching for the stars from here.
You go for it. And I'm sure that people watching us this morning have been inspired by your story, alhamdulillah. And we do hope and pray that you grow from strength to strength. We know that you will, inshallah. Thank you indeed for coming in and sharing your story with us.
Lovely being here.
That was Tasneem Musaji talking about coming out third in the National Amazing Teachers Competition. And of course, you can hear she's just an amazing person. Next ad break, and when we get back, we're going to be joined by her dad, Yusuf Musaji, about the CBE. Welcome back. We do hope that you enjoyed the interview with young Tasneem Musaji. She came out third in the National Awesome Teachers Competition here in South Africa. And as you heard, she was spoiled absolutely rotten. But of course, it was lots and lots of hard work that got her to where she is, and passion for what she does, not only for teaching, but passion for children. Now, this is quite a coincidence, but the next interview is with Tasneem's dad, and he is Yusuf Musaji. But no, we're not going to talk about Tasneem. We're going to talk about his involvement with the CBE and what exactly they are doing to uplift the community, inshallah. So stay with us on the show. Yusuf, salamu alaikum, welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum salam, Julie. I thought I was only bringing Tasneem to the studio. I didn't realize I was going to be part of the interview.
Well, coincidentally, we're also going to be talking to Sumaya Wadi Muhammad about the Women of Substance function that you, the CBE, in conjunction with their organization, is hosting this Saturday. Before we get there, tell us about the CBE. I know you've had a very, very long relationship with them. Why and how did they come about, and what exactly does the CBE stand for?
Okay, the CBE stands for the Congress of Business and Economics. It emerged out of the old Transvaal Indian Congress. It was actually initially known as the TIC Business and Economy Group. Subsequently, the name changed to the Congress of Business and Economics. So we have a long history of resistance politics. The CBE, obviously the TIC, as you know, was involved with the Patriotic Front, with the Mass Democratic Movement. The CBE's brief at that particular time was to look at the business community, whereas the TIC was looking at the political aspects. We were looking at politics from a business angle. CBE existed for a long period of time.
How long are you in operation?
We've been in operation since 1989. Mm-hmm. That was when the TIC, the Business and Economy Group of the TIC, was launched. After the advent of democracy, the CBE went into a bit of a remission. 3 years back, some of the old executive members of the CBE said that there's still issues, a lot of issues that needs to be resolved. While we understand that the political battle may have been won, the economic battle is far from over, and we need to re-look at re-establishing the organization. We had a workshop with a lot of role players, some of the old TIC people, including some of the people that are currently in government right now, and it was unanimous that the CBE needs to exist. And 3 years ago, we resuscitated ourselves, for want of a better term. And 3 years later, I think we've done extremely well.
Now, alhamdulillah, 3 years in a row, I've been invited to attend the dinners and the fundraisers, etc., that the CBE holds on a annual basis. Apart from those events that you have, and I must say that you have amazing motivational and other leaders of industry that come along and give little talks and inspires everybody there, and you kind of walk away thinking that you've got a place and you need to do your little bit. But apart from those events on an annual basis, what exactly are you guys doing behind the scenes, and how is it that you're putting business in the forefront? You talk about the effort and energy that you need to put into reviving business. What is it that you're doing, and who should be coming to you for help, and what sort of help would you give them?
Okay, besides the normal dinners, networking dinners, and
Which
that
are
you
very
mentioned-
important,
that
they play
you
a
mentioned,
huge role.
We've also had various business workshops. To name some of the events we've had scenario planning with Clem Santner. We had that was a whole day workshop. We had the whole day workshop with Brother Mirza Yawar Beg that comes on ITV quite often, speaking on the business of family business. One of the functions that we're going to be holding in the new year, just to mention it very briefly, is succession. You know, a lot of business people have a family-owned business. How do you go about succession, and what are the pitfalls? And that's going to be an important workshop that will take place probably around February, March next year. But one of the things that the CBE needs to do, and it's been in the back burner for some time, and we're hoping to launch it in the early new year, is entrepreneurship development. We've had a program that we've run for the past 2 years in conjunction with Growing Hands that was held at UJ every Saturday morning.
Of course, I've attended one or two of those,
You've
yes.
attended that. That was an entrepreneurship development at a particular level, mainly startup business. We now have been speaking to people from Gauteng government and other role players as well. We need to take the initiative at the next level. With South Africa currently, the way it's situated at the moment, we have unemployment is one of our major problems. Right now, we can clearly see that we're in a recession. I mean, economists may tell you, some economists may tell you different, but a lot of economists concur that we are in a recession at the moment. And how does one come out of situations of this nature? We need to develop entrepreneurs. And the only way to develop entrepreneurs is to have programs. Incidentally, we have a lot of young professionals that have come through to us and are willing to assist the CBE in rolling out this entrepreneurship development program.
Like a mentorship program, perhaps, or a coaching
probably
program?
more than mentorship. It's probably more than mentorship, because a mentorship is, in a sense, yes, but I think it takes it to another level whereby we want to equip entrepreneurs in terms of how to run businesses, how to do budgets, how to present statements to banks for financing, how to market their products. Those entrepreneurs hopefully will then employ other people. So that's how you grow the economy. And that's something that the CBE has been talking about for the past year and a half, but we're certainly going to roll it out next year. And I think it's going to be an important element. As an organization, as an NGO, funding is obviously an issue. You know, we don't get enough funding. We're hoping, we have these dinners and functions that we have attracts funding, and that's the funding that we hope to put into the entrepreneurship development program. And it needs to be a long-term solution, sustainable program. We're speaking to government at the moment. There's a new government, so to speak, in Gauteng. We've been speaking to Premier David Magura previously with regards to this program. We're hoping now to have this program backed by the Gauteng government as a long-term initiative in partnership with the CBE.
Now, Yusuf, you're an NGO, and obviously you're talking about entrepreneurship, and you're also talking about, you know, what comes to mind immediately is young people wanting to start up their own businesses, and the biggest hurdle for them is funding or financing. The banks won't give them loans simply because, you know, the business hasn't started up yet, what do they give as collateral?
That's right.
If they come to you, I know you yourself can't fund them, but what is it that you can do for them?
We've been speaking to the business partners previously known as SBDC. They have a program, also entrepreneurship development. It's something that we're going to be partnering with them as well.
Oh, great.
Now, what is mentioned, if the idea is excellent, they may not even need collateral. If business people comes with an idea that business partners see as something that could develop into a business and could help the economy, they don't ask for collateral on that. So that's also the one aspect. The other aspect is banks would look at part of financing of certain initiatives and then putting in money as the project moves forward. The CBE will assist those business people in drawing up the business plans, because a lot of the time funding fails because the business plans are not drawn up adequately. The idea may be excellent, but financial institutions look at it from a particular angle.
And youngsters don't have the know-how.
They don't,
so
unfortunately.
You could assist them in
so
that line.
That's what we're talking on. We have a lot of accountants, chartered accountants, economists that have agreed to assist the organization in developing this program. We obviously
and I should imagine if someone came to you, it would be at a minimal or no cost basis, simply because you want to get the person onto their feet.
We would do that. We would encourage business people to join the organization to help us fund these particular initiatives. I must say there are certain business people out there that are very philanthropic, that have assisted us. But obviously we can't go back to those business people all the time. We need more business people to come on board. Also, the young professionals that's going to be assisting us with regards to rolling out this program, we need to give them an honorarium fee. We believe that if people do things totally voluntarily, it's not sustainable because people are involved in the day-to-day activities of their own lives, so they don't see this as being important. But if you give them an honorarium fee, it's something that they know that they've got to continue.
And it's a commitment as well.
It's a commitment as well. So those are the type of things that we want to obviously look at quite seriously in the new year.
All right, very quickly tell us about the function this Saturday being held at the Wanderers Cricket Stadium in the Long Room. It is entitled Women of Substance. I am going to talk to Sumaya Wadi Mohammed in a short while to give me lots more detail.
Yes.
But when, how has this partnership been formed between the two of you?
This is our third function that we're having on celebrating women. The first two functions we've had in Women's Month. And I know there's been a big scuffle to actually hold it in Women's Month. And I said to them that, you know, women needs to be celebrated
every day,
all the time, not only in Women's Month.
True.
So it doesn't really matter if we do it in August or we do it in October or we do it in November. This year we've partnered with an NGO as well called the Zenopia Women's Forum. They've come in, and obviously with the CB, and I think there's one or two other organizations that have come in through the Zenopia route. So it's going to be taking place this week, Saturday. It's again very similar to the other functions that we've had, where by celebrating women, we'd like to spoil women on that particular day, give them goodie bags.
Why the emphasis on women, the upliftment of women? Do you think not enough is done for the promoting and growing women in our country or in our communities?
There is a battle out there that women are not recognized enough. Even the housewives has an enormous role to play.
True.
You know, bringing up children, making sure that meals are provided, making sure that the household, and we don't appreciate that enough. We don't. So by saying that, we'd like to have, there's a lot of businesswomen coming to the function on Saturday, but we also encourage a lot of home executives, housewife, if you want to call it, to come to this type of function because they need to be honored as well. It's, you know, we don't recognize them. Society as such, in South Africa, there is a gender desk, there is a woman's desk. We're fortunate that the government encourages a lot of women participation. We need to back that, and we need to make sure that women are recognized all the time. It's difficult enough for women to break into the men's world, so to speak.
Mainstream.
And also in mainstream industry. And we need to make sure that we encourage and we nurture this, because if you look at the example of what has been done in Bangladesh by the Grameen Bank, and he said that the research that they've done is that if you give finance to women to start up a business, they found that 95% of the loans are paid back by women, as opposed to men that don't I don't know the percentage of men, but they prefer giving loans to women to start off entrepreneurship and business because they find that they get the loans paid back. So it says a lot. I mean, I'm sure it happens all over the world.
Where to from here for the CBE?
We've got another major function taking place in December, the 3rd of December. It's called Tribute to Our Heroes. It's our second function. The first one was held at the Birchwood Hotel 3 years ago.
Yes, I attended that one.
You attended that one. And we've had tremendous feedback from that. There was a couple of segments to that function.
Yes.
The one was the award section where we awarded people, the heroes, and we also had the storytelling segment. So it's based on the similar, why fix something that's not broken? And it was a highly successful function. This year, the keynote address is going to be by Judge Johan Krickler. The storytelling segment is by Veli Musa, Dr. Popo Molefi, and Zubaida Jafar. So and then also the awards, we've got a lot of awards in different fields, from philanthropy to lifetime awards to contribution to society. We need to recognize our heroes. In so doing, hopefully we'll create new heroes that will take our country forward.
Absolutely. And we need to expose our children, our youngsters, to our rich history and legacy, and they need to then take over from where we leave off.
That's
and
right.
I want to end the interview by congratulating you on raising a very fine young woman. She's just obviously won the Awesome Teacher, well, she's the third finalist in the Awesome Teacher Award for this year. And obviously, congratulations to you and your wife for being the supportive parents in raising such amazing children. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.
And we look to, obviously, with a long association with CBE, we do hope we'll talk with you guys more on a regular basis. Thank you, Yusuf.
Shukran, Jazakallah.
That was Yusuf Musaji talking to us about the role of the CBE in our community and all of the amazing upcoming events, of one of which we're going to be talking about in more detail with Sumaya Wadi Mohammed. And of course, still to come on the show, we're going to talk to retired journalist Auntie Jubi Maya. She used to write for the Post newspaper, and she's going to talk to us about her career and, of course, Black Wednesday as well. And welcome back. We're now going to cross over via Skype, of course, to Sumaya Wadi Mohammed. And as Yusuf Musaji has just mentioned, there's an amazing function that's going to be held this Saturday afternoon at the Long Room at the Wanderers Stadium. And it's entitled Women of Substance. So let's cross over to her and find out just exactly what it is that we're in line for this Saturday. But first, let's take a look at this video clip, and then we'll be joined by Sumaya Wadi Mohammed, inshallah. And I certainly am looking forward to attending that function, the Women of Substance. And no doubt there are going to be amazing women at the function. Let's now talk to Sister Sumaya Wadi Mohammed, and she's going to fill in all the details for us. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for having me.
This sounds like an awesome function, the Women of Substance High Tea. And alhamdulillah, I think one can say that every woman that we come across has some substance to her that she can share with her sisters.
Yes, definitely. The reality is, in 2015, only 26 women lead CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. To support women is not only the nice thing or the right thing to do. There's studies show that it actually makes a difference to the bottom line.
Okay, I don't know if you can hear me, Sumaya. You've been breaking up there, but let's give it another shot. It's the function this Saturday is titled My Inner Self and Outer World. Why this specific title? It says so much, but let's understand from you being part of the organizers.
Women play so much of diverse roles. As businesswomen, you have often the role of a mother, a family member, internal and other factors which affect your life as a woman, especially in business. Can you hear me?
Okay, why did Zenopia partner with CBE on this function?
CBE is such a transformative non-profit business organization, and CBE, as well as access to, in line with our principles of empowerment and sustainable development and equality and gender transformation to get economic independence.
In this instance, what is the purpose of this specific event?
Well, what talk is, we all agree that gender transformation and more active women in business and equality brings better results. Our actions have not caught up. And instances and events like this allow women to network, allow women to have discussion, provide a platform for women to discuss the issues that affect them collectively.
This is obviously a huge fundraiser for Zenopia and other role players at Women of Substance on Saturday. Where is this funding going to?
Well, the funding will be put back into sustainability and transformation in business and into projects to training and development of women.
Okay, tell us about the amazing speakers you're going to have at the function and what is in store for the people who are going to be attending Women of Substance.
Okay, our lovely television news personality, Ayanda Ali Payne, will be MC with a wonderful journalist and a formidable businesswoman, Miss Mary Papaya. They co-emceeing the event. We have beautiful speakers. We're expecting the Honorable Minister of Communications, Faith Mutambi, Ursula Chikani will be speaking, as well as plastic surgeon and philanthropist, Dr. Ridwan Mia. We have Unaisa, a wonderful businesswoman. Moideen should be talking about being a warrior woman. Fakalia, who is a practitioner businesswoman. And we have lots of goodie bags in store and wonderful panel discussions, hopefully.
Okay, so for people who are still haven't managed to get tickets yet and decide, well, this sounds like an amazing networking opportunity to go along, meet and greet other sisters. I should imagine there are going to be some males there as well. So there's wonderful opportunities. Can they still at this late stage get some tickets, and how do they go about booking for the event? May, I'm not sure if you heard my question. Is there still time to book tickets for the event, and when and how does one do it? Try again. Sumaya, let's wrap up the interview, but just one last question. When and how does one manage to get tickets for the event, and what do they cost?
Tickets for the event cost 400 Rand. And you can contact the CBE online, Uncle Yusuf Musaji or Yasmin Lehe, as well as the Access Chapter 2 offices in Pretoria, where you can obtain your tickets.
Okay, shukran very much. All the very best. I have no doubt it's going to be a wonderful event and an amazing networking opportunity, and of course lots and lots of fundraising for all those amazing charities that you guys are involved in. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you abundantly for all your efforts. Thank you so much for being with us on the show this morning. Assalamu alaikum to you. Wadi Mohammed, we do apologize for the break in transmission there, but it was, it seems like a faulty Skype line. We do apologize. Let's take an ad break and we'll be back in a minute or two, and this time around with another woman of substance, and that is Sister Julie Mayat. She was, in them days, the reporter on the Post newspaper. She's now retired, but I have no doubt she'll have some amazing stories and inspire you and I to truly reach our heights and try and be better than we ever can be by just hearing her story. And welcome back to the final segment of the show this morning, and it gives me great pleasure to talk to Auntie Julie Mayat. She was one of the first Muslim ladies in our community to break into the world of media. And yes, I'm talking many, many, many moons ago. I remember as a little girl, we used to wait on a Sunday morning for the Post newspaper to come. We used to go out and buy it, and my mom would go through the papers and would go straight to Auntie Julie's column, and we'd read it with much humor. It was, you know, she truly spoke about the events of the day, very tongue-in-cheek. She took the mickey out of a lot of the situations, and I was very young at the time, but my mom tried to explain the gist of, you know, what Auntie Julie was trying to say. And then, of course, as I grew older, I followed her, and I always wanted to be like her. I truly admired her. I admired this woman who was the first Muslim woman journalist that had broken into media, and I truly revered this lady. I've never ever had the pleasure of meeting her, but alhamdulillah, today we have her on the phone line talking to us about her life as a journalist, and we're also going to touch on Black Wednesday. Auntie Julie Mayat, Assalamu alaikum, welcome to ITV.
Wa alaikum salam, nice to be here.
Well, I must say that you were my hero when I was a little girl. We truly admired you. Would I be correct in saying you were the first Muslim journalist back in the day?
I wouldn't lay claim to that because there was, in my time, another lady by the name of Dolly Hassan. She's late.
Okay.
She started off as assistant to the editor, you know, personal assistant on Golden City Post.
Okay.
And it was only later on that she started writing columns and doing stories. But I was already a cub reporter at the time on Golden City Post.
How did your journey start into media? I mean, I didn't, at that time, couldn't even imagine our community breaking into that space. I mean, I'm talking about the dark days of apartheid.
Yeah, well, my family couldn't also imagine me doing anything like that. But I've always wanted to write since I was very young. And I got interested I used to read all the newspapers on a regular basis. And I got very interested in Golden City Post and wanted to meet the reporters and like that. And eventually I did, and I was offered a job during my second year of teacher's training during the July holidays, you know, to do little stories for them, which I did. And during that period of time, I hit the front page story. And the editor immediately offered me a job as a cupboard reporter. But of course, my mother and dad said, "Nix, nothing doing. You're going to college and you're finishing your teacher's training." So after I finished writing my final exams, I went to join Golden City Post.
And how many years did you work with the Post newspaper?
Oh, I don't know. I started there in December 1957.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there until, well, Drum and Post were sister publications, but they both belonged to Jim Bailey. In 1962, the editor of Drum decided that I should come and write for Drum rather than Golden City Post. So there was a bit of a spat between the two editors. So I ended up doing feature writing for Drum and interviews and stuff, and also continued writing the things that I was, the columns and things that I was doing for Post, Golden City Post.
So in total, how many years did you work for the two publications?
I left them in 1976 or 77, when I had a bit of a dispute with Jim Bailey. I gotten involved with the Union of Black Journalists by then. And of course, the SB took rather a great interest in me and my doings and my writings. So I was raided and, you know, all that stuff. And Jim didn't like the idea of me being involved in politics. He said to me, you know, you've got so many children to take care of. What happens to you if you get hauled? What happens to them if you get hauled off one of the days? I should stay out of it. So I said to him, no, look, what I'm doing is not only for my children, I'm doing it for my children and for the country. You know, and on that basis we parted. I must have been one of the first reporters in Jim Bailey's organization who got paid on a full-time basis while I was working, I was basically unemployed by him.
Oh, lucky you, lucky you. That brings me to 1977, and it's now 39 years on that we commemorate Black Wednesday. How did that affect you in the time that you left Jim Bailey? You were being paid full-time anyway. Did you continue writing, or what were you doing?
I went to join the Voice newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously then my pay from Jim Bailey stopped and I was full-time employed on the Voice newspaper. And, you know, at that time, people were being detained and locked up and banned left, right, and center. And we had published, the Union of Black Journalists had published what we call the Bulletin of the UBJ. So on the morning of October 19, in the middle of the night sometime, the Khatas came to my house, banged on all the doors, and came in and searched, overturned everything, raided me. And of course they found about, 50 or 60 copies of this bulletin in my house, mm-hmm. which they carted away. So this raid lasted like about 2 hours. They took away various letters and other documents, and I think they found also a copy of the Human Rights Committee, the bullet thing that I had in the house. In the morning, I phoned some of my colleagues. Dr. Kim Kulu was one of them, late Mike Norton, and I told them what had happened to me. And I learned that other people had also been raided and some had been arrested, detained. I said to them, look, I think something big is happening this morning. We should go to the bank and take out our money. We didn't have a lot of money. It was an amount of like 2,460 rand. Mm-hmm. But to us it was a lot, you know, it was UBJ's money. Phil was the treasurer. I was assistant secretary treasurer. the three of us went to Standard Bank in town, and we withdrew this money. And of course, later on, in the course of the day, we heard that this had been banned, the world had been banned, the Weekend World, Pro Veritate, SASO, BPC, UBJ. We were banned, the newspaper.
So that was the start. That was the start of Black Wednesday. How long did the ban stay in place? There was a total blackout on black media, so to speak.
Yes. Everything that had the word black in its name got banned. The Black People's Convention, SASO, the Committee of 10, Pro Veritate, the Christian Institute publication, a whole bunch of papers and things got banned. Anyway, the subsequent to October 19, in December, this happened in October, November, December, the security cops came to the voice offices and arrested myself and Dr. From Kimpulu. We were charged with theft of the state's money, that being the money that we had withdrawn from UBJ's account. Anyway, nothing much came of it because 6 months later we were acquitted. Our lawyers found that at the time we withdrew the money, UBJ was not banned yet because the banning only came into effect once the government gazette was issued. And the government gazette at that time of the morning had not yet been issued. It was only issued at about 10 o'clock. So when we withdrew the money, we were not banned. So the charges fell away. But we were locked up at John Foster Square.
For how long?
Quite a few.
For how long were you locked up, and what happened thereafter, after Black Wednesday? How did the black journalists and black media be able to get their lives together and move on? Were they able to move on?
We were a very resilient lot. We laughed at the system. We laughed at these things that happened to us, and we just went on carrying on with our work as best we could. Of course, some of us were banned on September the 1st of 1977. Joe Crowley, the president of UBJ, was detained for several months. Various of us were locked up at different times or called into John Foster Square for questioning. They confiscated UBJ's correspondence and office things like our stamps and stuff like that. It was a weird time, but also I found it exhilarating because the more they hassled me, the more I became determined to fight the system.
When you look at media today, obviously in 2013 we had the secrecy bill coming into effect, or the attempt. How do you compare it with Black Wednesday? Do you think things, and when you look at media today and the way we do reporting these days, is it very different to the way you did it in your day? And what advice would you give to young upcoming journalists?
Be true to yourself. Always tell the truth. That's what I would say. It is obviously easier these days, to go about your journalism life than it was in those days. There were many obstacles put in our way. But as I say, we were a resilient lot, and we didn't allow ourselves to be stopped by those stupid laws that tried to prevent us from doing our jobs the way we should and the way we did.
And the media landscape these days, how different is it? Or do you find with the advent of technology, things perhaps is that much more easier for young and upcoming journalists?
I definitely think it's easier. We had to go out and pound the pavements and slog away to get at stories, These days they go to Google and information is there at the click of a button. It's much easier. It's not probably the way I would like to do things. I like to be out and about with people. You know, you get a better sense of what's happening. You get a better feel of what people are thinking and feeling when you are among people, rather than just sitting in front of a computer screen.
So rub shoulders with the masses is your take. Now, Auntie Juby, you've had a very, very long history in media. And when we look at the political scene these days, and we look at how media coverage has been of all sorts of events, let's just look at the Fees Must Fall campaign. What is your take on it? Would you have done the reporting or engaging with the youngsters in a different way, perhaps?
Probably not. I agree with the premise of, fees must fall. But I do not like the attendant unnecessary violence and thuggery that is accompanying. It takes away, from the basic premise of fees must fall. It tarnishes it. And of course the police and the security guys, they have a role to play as well. I think they could use more restraint.
What would you say to the young people at the forefront of the Fees Must Fall campaign? What would be your strongest message to them regarding their stance on Fees Must Fall and, of course, the violence and the destruction of infrastructure and property?
Well, I would say to them, fight for your cause, but do not destroy and do not prevent other people from going about their business. I'm talking about people who may be on their way to work and they get caught up in unnecessary violence along the way. That's uncalled for. I know it's difficult to do because I've been in similar situations. We had marches, we carried placards. We were stopped along the way by the cops and tucked into the quellas and taken to John Foster Square. But somehow we managed throughout all that to keep our cool. And I think those times were even worse than the times that these youngsters are going through today. I think maybe they expect too much too quickly. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm old-fashioned, I don't know.
We're living in the age of instant gratification, unfortunately.
Yes.
The one story perhaps that you've covered, we've come to the end of the interview, but the one story that stands out in your mind that you might have covered over the time that you were in media, what story would that be and why?
Well, in around about late December 65, I think I must have been the first black woman reporter to do a death cell interview.
Sure.
I got away with it. It was terrible because this guy then wrote me a letter and a cop came to the offices of Drum in Samke House, Troy Street, to deliver this letter to me. It was his last wish to see me on the morning of his execution. And of course my editor thought, oh, this is great, what a story. So I went that morning and it was the most terrible experience of my life. There were about 16 or 17 guys being executed that morning. And my interviewee was amongst the last 4 to go. And I stood there from about, I think it must have been about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning until about 11 o'clock. With all these people, relatives of the other guys who were going to be executed, wailing and weeping, and praying. And the guys themselves were so strong. They said to us on the other side of the bars, don't cry, be strong, we are going to a better place. I couldn't believe it. It gives me, even today when I think about it and I talk about it, it gives me goosebumps.
Auntie Jubi Mayat, thank you indeed for sharing your memories with us and your thoughts on Black Wednesday and just the current South African scenario. It's been wonderful talking to you. I've always wanted to meet you, and finally I get to meet you telephonically. Thank you indeed for having enriched our lives, our growing lives, with the Post newspaper and the Drum magazine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be with you. Go well, and salamu alaikum to you.
Jazakallah wa alaikum salam.
That was Jubi Mai from the Post newspaper, and we now need to wrap up. Thank you indeed for your company this morning. Our quote of the day, short, sharp and beautiful. Everything comes to you in the right moment. Be patient, be grateful. Alhamdulillah. A big thank you to the production team and everyone involved. Lovely to be with you. Thank you for your company. Till Saturday morning at the same time. As always, wassalam.
يا هلا 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 حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا يا 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 هلا